You know that feeling when you're staring at your phone and you've typed out a message like 3 times already, deleted it, typed it again, and you're just sitting there wondering if you should send it or not? Yeah, I've been there. And if you're watching this, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But I want to talk about something that happens after all of that. After you've already sent the messages, after you've already had the conversations that went nowhere, after you've already done pretty much everything you could think of to try to fix things, what happens when you finally stop? And I don't mean stopping for a day or two. I mean actually stopping, going quiet, not reaching out, not checking in, not trying to explain yourself one more time, because something shifts when that happens, and it's not what you'd expect. Let me back up for a second though, because I think it's important to understand where most guys are when they get to this point. By the time you actually stop chasing her, you've usually already made a lot of mistakes, like a lot. You've probably sent those long messages at 2 a.m. trying to explain how you feel. You've probably called her when you knew she wasn't going to pick up. You might have shown up somewhere hoping to run into her. You've had that conversation where you basically laid everything out on the table, told her you'd do anything, you'd change, you'd be different, and she just looked at you like she'd already made up her mind. And if that's where you are right now, I need you to hear something. That's not the end of this. I know it feels like it is. I know it feels like you've blown every chance you had, like you've pushed her so far away that there's no coming back from it. But actually, and this might sound strange, all of those mistakes, they're setting something up. They've created a pattern, a very specific pattern in her mind about who you are and how you behave. She knows you're going to reach out. She expects it. She's used to getting a message from you every few days or every week or however often it's been happening. When she wakes up in the morning, somewhere in the back of her mind, she knows you're probably going to try again soon. And that certainty, that knowing exactly what you're going to do, that's actually working against you right now. Think about it like this. When someone is completely predictable, when you know exactly how they're going to act, there's no tension, there's no wondering, there's no space for curiosity. It's like watching a movie where you already know the ending. You're not really engaged anymore. You're just kind of going through the motions. That's what it's like for her right now. She knows the ending. She knows you're going to text. She knows you're going to try to talk about things. She knows you're going to ask for another chance. And because she knows all of that, she doesn't have to think about you. Not really, not in the way that actually matters. She doesn't lie awake at night wondering what you're doing. She doesn't check her phone hoping to see your name. She doesn't feel that little twist in her stomach when she thinks about you, because there's nothing to wonder about. You're right there. You're always right there. So what happens when you're suddenly not? The first few days, honestly, probably nothing. She's expecting you to reach out, so she's not even thinking about it yet. She figures you'll text tomorrow or the next day. She's going about her life, doing her thing, and in the back of her mind, there's just this assumption that you'll show up again soon. But then a few more days pass, and you don't. And this is when something interesting starts happening in her brain. See, we're wired to notice patterns. Our minds are constantly looking for consistency, for things we can predict, for what's supposed to happen next. It's how we make sense of the world. And when a pattern breaks, when something that was consistent suddenly stops, our brain flags it. It's like if you've been hearing a sound every day at the same time, and one day it doesn't happen. You notice. You can't help but notice. Your brain goes, wait, something's different here. That's what's happening with her. The pattern broke, and now she's noticing. At first, it's probably just a small thing, a thought that passes through her mind. He hasn't texted today. And then she moves on with her day. But then another day passes, and another. And now the thoughts are getting louder. They're staying longer. She's finding herself checking her phone more often, even though she's not sure why. She's noticing when she doesn't have any messages from you. And look, these aren't romantic thoughts at first. It's not like she's suddenly missing you or wanting you back. It's more like confusion, uncertainty, this feeling that something in her world shifted and she's trying to figure out what it means. Why isn't he reaching out? Did something happen? Is he okay? Did he meet someone? That last question, that's the one that really starts to take root. Because here's something that's easy to forget when you're in the middle of all this. Just because she said she doesn't want to be with you doesn't mean she wants you to disappear completely. Just because she asked for space doesn't mean she's ready to see you move on. There's a huge gap between I need distance from this relationship and I'm totally fine with you being happy without me. And most of the time, she doesn't even realize that gap exists until you actually go quiet. When you were chasing her, when you were texting and calling and trying to fix things, she didn't have to confront any of that. She knew you were still there. She knew you still wanted her. She could take all the space she needed because she was confident you weren't going anywhere. But now she doesn't know what's happening, and that uncertainty, It wakes something up in her. She starts thinking about you differently, not as the guy who wouldn't stop texting, not as the guy who made her feel suffocated, but as someone who might actually be gone. And that possibility that you might actually move on, that you might actually be okay without her, that someone else might be getting your attention now, that hits different. I want to be careful here because I'm not talking about playing games. I'm not saying you should disappear just to manipulate her emotions or make her jealous. If that's your motivation, it's going to backfire eventually. And she'll feel it. People can sense when they're being played. What I'm talking about is something different. It's about genuinely stepping back because you understand that what you were doing wasn't working. It's about recognizing that every time you reached out, every time you tried to convince her, every time you explained yourself one more time, you were actually pushing her further away. And when you stop from that place, when you stop because you finally get it, something changes in you too. Not just in how she sees you, in how you actually feel. Because chasing someone who's pulling away is exhausting. It breaks you down, it makes you feel desperate and small and not like yourself. And the longer you do it, the more you lose touch with who you actually are outside of this situation. So when you stop, when you finally let go of that constant need to fix things and reach out and make something happen, you start to breathe again, you start to remember that you have a life, you start to feel like yourself for the first time in weeks or months, and that shows. It shows in everything. Before we continue, let me ask you something really quick. If this content is helping you see your relationship in a different way, subscribe to the channel. It's 100% free, it costs nothing, and it's what allows me to keep bringing deeper, truly useful content for people who are living exactly what you're living right now. Now let me tell you something important. The few people who actually manage to rebuild a relationship after a breakup are not the ones who insist the most, nor the ones who try to simply communicate better. They're the ones who understand what changes emotionally after a breakup. They understand timing, they know when silence is necessary. They understand why certain actions push someone away and why others at the right moment start to reopen doors. That's why I created the second chance formula. It's not about acting on impulse or trying to fix everything at once. It's a structured method designed to rebuild emotional connection the right way, even when the other person is cold, distant, or saying they don't feel the same anymore. When you join, you don't go in alone. You get access to real cases, real decisions, and a clear structure organized by emotional phases so you know exactly what to do, what to avoid, and when to act. On top of that, the method follows different paths for men and women because what creates emotional safety for one can feel like pressure to the other. And at key moments in the process, I personally analyze your case to guide you with clarity. If you want to get out of trial and error mode and follow a more conscious, intelligent path, the link to the second chance formula is in the description. Now let's go back to where we left off. Now here's where it gets tricky. And I've seen so many guys mess this up, so I want to make sure you really hear this. You stop reaching out. A week goes by, maybe two, and you start noticing little things. Maybe she views your Instagram story. Maybe she sends you a random text about something that doesn't really matter. Maybe a mutual friend mentions that she asked about you, and your brain goes, it's working. She's thinking about me. This is my chance, and then you blow it all up. You send that long message you've been holding in. You tell her everything you've been feeling. You try to have the big conversation about where things stand, and just like that, you're right back where you started. Maybe even worse. Because now she knows that your silence wasn't real. It was just a strategy. You were just waiting for an opening to come back in with the same energy she needed a break from in the first place. I can't stress this enough. When you stop reaching out, you're not taking a pause. You're not waiting for the right moment to start again. You're actually shifting the entire dynamic between you two. And that takes time. Real time. Not a week. Sometimes not even a month. It takes consistent behavior that shows her over and over through actions, not words, that something in you has genuinely changed. So what do you actually do during this time? You focus on yourself. And I know that sounds generic. I know it sounds like advice you've heard a million times, but let me tell you what it actually means in practice. It means getting your sleep back on track because you've probably been a mess. It means organizing your days so you're not just sitting around waiting for something to happen. It means seeing your friends, the ones you've probably been neglecting while you were consumed by this. It means going to the gym or running or doing whatever physical thing makes you feel like you're in your body again. It means working on that project you've been putting off. It means getting a haircut. It means buying some new clothes that actually fit. It means cleaning your apartment. It means doing all the small things that add up to you feeling like a person who has their life together. And look, I know what you're thinking. That's not going to get her back. That's not going to change how she feels. That's not going to make her want to be with me again. But here's what you're missing. You're not doing this to get her back. You're doing this because it's what you actually need right now. You're doing this because chasing her has made you into someone you don't recognize. You're doing this because regardless of what happens with her, you have a life to live. And the wild thing is, she's gonna notice. Not because you're performing for her, not because you're posting things to make her jealous, but because when someone genuinely starts taking care of themselves, when someone who seemed to be falling apart starts standing a little taller, starts moving through the world differently, starts having things going on in their life, people see that. She'll see it on social media, she'll hear about it from friends, she'll feel it in the energy if you do cross paths or if she does reach out. And that version of you, the one who's not desperate, the one who's got things happening, the one who seems like he's actually okay, that's someone she might want to get to know again. That's someone she can feel attraction toward. Because attraction doesn't come from convincing someone to be with you. It doesn't come from explaining how much you've changed. It doesn't come from promises about the future. It comes from who you are right now, in this moment, how you carry yourself, how you show up in the world. And if you show up as someone who's doing well, someone who's taking care of himself, someone who has a life that doesn't revolve around whether she texts you back or not, that's attractive. That's interesting. That's someone she might actually miss. Now let's talk about what happens if she does reach out, because at some point, if you do this right, there's a good chance she will. Maybe it's a simple text. Maybe she asks how you're doing. Maybe she brings up something random just to start a conversation. And this moment is important because how you respond is going to set the tone for everything that comes next. The temptation is going to be huge. You're going to want to dive right in. You're going to want to tell her everything. You're going to want to have that deep conversation about the relationship and what went wrong and whether there's a chance to fix it. Don't do that. Keep it light. Keep it simple. Keep it short. If she asks how you've been, tell her you're good. Tell her you've been staying busy. Ask how she's doing. That's it. You're not trying to prove anything to her in this conversation. You're not trying to show her how much you've changed. You're just having a normal interaction, like two people who know each other catching up. Because here's what that does. It shows her that you're not sitting around waiting for her to come back. It shows her that you've actually moved forward. It shows her that you're not going to dump all your emotions on her the first chance you get. And that makes her want to keep talking to you. That makes her curious about what you've been up to. That makes her wonder what's going on in your life that's got you so okay. If you want to say something more direct at some point, something that actually acknowledges what happened between you two, keep it clean. Something like, I've had time to think about a lot of things. I get why you needed space. I've been working on some stuff. Hope you're doing well. That's it. No explanations, no begging, no asking where things stand, because you're not asking for anything. You're just stating where you are and you're leaving the door open for her to step through if she wants to. That's the shift. You're no longer chasing. You're no longer trying to pull her toward you. You're just living your life, being your best self, and leaving space for her to come to you on her own terms. And I know that feels passive. I know it feels like you're not doing enough. I know there's this voice in your head telling you that you should be fighting for her, that you should be showing her how much you care, that if you just explain things the right way, she'll understand. But I need you to really hear this. That voice is wrong. Every time you push her away. Every time you try to convince her, you make her more certain that she made the right decision. Every time you reach out from a place of need, you confirm in her mind that you're not someone she can respect right now. I know that's hard to hear, but it's the truth. The only way to actually create space for her to want you again is to stop filling up all the space yourself. Stop texting, stop calling, stop explaining, stop trying to make something happen. Let her feel your absence. Let her wonder what you're doing. Let her start to question whether maybe she made a mistake. That's not manipulation. That's just giving her room to actually miss you. And you can't miss someone who's always there. I want to leave you with this. I know how much this hurts. I know how hard it is to sit with the uncertainty, to not know what she's thinking, to feel like you're losing someone you love, and there's nothing you can do about it. But there is something you can do. You can become someone worth coming back to, not by chasing, not by convincing, by actually living your life in a way that makes you proud of who you are. And if you do that, if you really commit to that, one of two things is going to happen. Either she's going to start seeing you differently and want to reconnect, or you're going to realize that you can actually be okay without her. And honestly, both of those are wins. So stop staring at your phone. Stop writing messages you know you shouldn't send. Stop trying to figure out the perfect thing to say. Just live. Take care of yourself. Be patient. And let her come to you.